A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Green.
Welcome into the Sportsocracy, Tank Spencer and Jeremy Green. It is a Tuesday morning coming off of the heels of one of the wildest finishes in an NFL game. Well, for bettors anyway, last night, Monday Night Football. It is the Sportsocracy. Be sure to like it, share it, and follow it on all of the social medias. At the Sportsocracy, we are live once again from the Wicked Weed Studios here in Woodfin, North Carolina. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Go online, check them out. You can get your brews and gear online. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. So you lost last night, huh?
That's the worst bad beat in the history of football. That makes me never want to bet again in my life. I'm gonna, but it made me really not want to. And the bad thing is I was sitting there watching it going, oh no. No. Calm down.
So, in case you're not aware, last night it was a 3.5 point spread for the Cleveland-Baltimore game. Cleveland was plus 3.5 with the field goal, what we thought would be the end of the game for the Baltimore Ravens. They took a 3-point lead, so Cleveland still covers. And then Cleveland tries to pull off one of those weird miracle lateral kind of plays, ends up in the end zone, and dude just runs out of the back of the end zone for a safety. Therefore, 2 more points for the Baltimore Ravens at the buzzer.
Just fall down!
Yeah.
You pounds!
And Baltimore covers the 3.5. Which I had Baltimore, so thank you for that.
Yeah, blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Good Lord. That was, in a weekend that I had Michigan State, who was up by, 1,000, and somehow found a way to push with Penn State. Mm-hmm. I had UCLA that was covering for 59 minutes. This was still the worst beat of the weekend. I want to just go cry aggressively. And I had such a good week, but it could have been a great week.
Right.
If stupid things had stopped happening.
It was quite the shootout down the stretch. I mean, the Baltimore and Cleveland getting together, and just a fourth quarter barrage of points.
It was a barrage of bad defense, is what it was. Let's be really honest. Okay, last night was a great game. Okay, I'll give you all the credit. Baltimore, Cleveland, woo! You had the game of the year on Monday Night Football. Right. You know what I learned last night? Neither one of you can win anything. Anything. All right, Baltimore, you get in the playoffs. Cool. You're going to get shellacked by whoever you play in the first round. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's the Bills or the Steelers. I don't care who it is. You're going to get drugged in the first round. You know why? Because with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, your quarterback is 3 of 7 for 32 yards.
Right.
If you can't throw, you can't win. Now, Cleveland, let's talk about you. Your defense is bad. Bad. Mm-hmm. And that's the best you're ever going to see out of Baker Mayfield. And you still lost.
Right. The Cleveland Browns right now in the playoff standings would get the Tennessee Titans in the first round.
Killed. LMNO killed.
And then if they make it, the Baltimore Ravens end up playing the Steelers again?
Killed. DED, dead.
Or possibly the Buffalo Bills. I don't like the chances in either one of those games.
I don't like the chances of either one of them winning any game in the playoffs.
Right. But it was a fun little circus.
Oh, yeah, last night was great. Mm-hmm. It was fun. People like Scott Van Pelt and myself were ready to go put our head through a car window. You know, it was fantastic. It was good times. I could tell the minute his face came on screen, he had in some way or some shape, form, or fashion, he was on one side of that number because he just started laughing. Like, well, that's a thing that happened. All right. Football.
I'm going to guess he probably had the Cleveland side of that because.
He was laughing, so I'm going to say he did.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wasn't laughing.
You think he'd have been crying?
I wasn't laughing at all. I was sitting there with my mouth about that far open just going, what's happening?
47-42 was the final score. Cleveland scored 22 points in the fourth quarter.
I hate everything.
It was he had 35 points combined scored in the fourth quarter of that ball game. It was unbelievable, and apparently Lamar Jackson, I mean, he just, he improves after he takes it down.
Lamar had to take him in number 2, lead him to the win.
Sometimes it happens, man.
I love how they said cramps. Okay.
Yeah.
RG3 called you out on social media of you had to potty, and that's fine.
I mean, that's a cramp.
Well, I mean, it was good timing too because Trace McSorley got killed about 13 seconds before Lamar Jackson ran out of that tunnel.
Right.
If you haven't seen the meme of the little kid looking under the stall door and it says John Harbaugh and there's a little arrow that points to Lamar Jackson, it's good times. I don't love the internet for many things. I do love the internet for memes.
Hey Lamar, like can you come back?
Hey Lamar, not trying to rush it, but if you could you wrap that up?
Oh man, Lamar Jackson though last night. I mean, there was one drive in that game where Lamar Jackson overthrew everybody by 10
He
yards.
Can't throw,
and I went, this is exactly
it's
what we're talking about.
It's not hard to figure out. He can't throw.
Right.
They're having to run the veer. I mean, that's what their offense is, for lack of a better word. It looks like Lou Holtz coaches this team in 1976.
Right.
There's no better way to play football than just run the football. That's the best way to play football. No, the best way to play is Pat Mahomes. Hey, y'all, watch this. You see that little guy on the outside? We call him the cheetah for a reason. You want to see why? There he goes.
Right. But on 2 separate plays, Lamar Jackson sailed him about 7 yards over the receivers' heads, and I love the commentators. They're trying to cover up all of the ills apparently, and they're talking about, oh, Willie Snead, he just couldn't bring that one down. No, he couldn't. It touched his fingertips. He had to jump 10 feet in the air to get it.
I do have to say this though, and this is a PSA to the U.S. government. Marquise Brown is the vaccine to coronavirus because that sumbitch can't catch nothing ever. I don't know what an antibodies test looks like, but if a little bit of Marquise Brown's blood might end this.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't catch a cold if you soaked him in water and put him in a freezer. He has quite possibly the worst set of hands I've ever seen. Was I the only one that, first of all, Lamar throwing across his body was, I understand why you did it, and there was very little risk, but it was a bad decision. Am I the only one that was damn near shocked when he caught it? Yeah. Like Marquise Brown catches it, I think he was surprised. Like, I caught one! I did it! Go. Oh, I have to run now.
Even the announcers were like, every time he would catch one, they'd be like, and he holds on to this one.
Right.
And he catches this one finally. It's just too much.
I'm as impressed.
I wonder if
I think the look on Marquise Brown's face when he catches a football is the same as like when I can slide my sock off and throw it up in the air and catch it. Like that's, yeah, didn't have to bend over. I mean, it's the same look on his face.
I blame it on the delivery system. I honestly blame it on the delivery system because when a ball finally is where it's supposed to be, of course you have that like, oh shit, we actually did this right this time.
A forward pass, coach, a forward pass. We did it.
Right.
Looks like we made it.
Oh, it was a good win. Keeps Baltimore in the playoff hunt. They are not in the playoffs currently, as they still sit
I don't
behind.
want to see them in the playoffs either. I have absolutely no desire to see them in the playoffs.
Well,
because it's gross and it's hard to watch, and I don't want to.
But would you rather see the Dolphins in the playoffs? You'd rather see the Colts in the playoffs than see the Ravens?
Yes. You know why?
Why?
Because I like quarterbacks that can throw. I feel like that is it should be a prerequisite to playing quarterback in the NFL, is the ability to throw a forward pass. I mean, I'll give him credit. He's fast as hell, and he's a great runner. Mm-hmm. He's a phenomenal running back. I am not backing off what I said the day he was drafted. He is not a Super Bowl winning quarterback, ever.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. He currently has as many playoff wins as, like I do plus one. Good for you. Fantastic.
His downfield accuracy is definitely lacking. But Baltimore Ravens beat the Cleveland Browns, did what they needed to do last night, and there you go. Looking forward to the playoff chase here as it comes down to the stretch. If you had to put a number on it, if you had to put like a probability on it, what would you put the Ravens' chances
Of making the
of
playoffs?
slipping into those playoffs?
Well, it's going to be them or the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see another loss on the schedule for the Ravens.
Exactly.
I don't. They play the Giants, the Jaguars, and the Bengals. I mean, the best team in that is Danny Dimes and the Giants.
Right.
Yeah, baby.
That wasn't a compliment.
I gotta say it.
Our producer Brian is a diehard Giants fan, and I don't think he understands that most of what I say about both teams in New York is pure sarcasm.
I love him so much. guys.
Well, that's my team.
You can love your team all you want to. You love your team.
Quarterback. This is my quarterback.
My quarterback.
He sucks.
Old Danny McFumbles. I love it so much.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't see a path to, I don't see a path to the Ravens not making playoffs.
Right.
But I think they're going to be the 6, which means they get Buffalo or Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that.
Much rather have Pittsburgh at this point.
At this point, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
At this point, that's a very marked difference there of which team I want to go up against in the playoffs. Because I don't know, I think the Steelers' offense is just broken, and I don't know how you fix it. I don't know how you fix it because they're, they want to make hay in the short game and they're taking it away, or they just can't execute. And I don't see a path forward for them.
They gotta run the ball, and they can't
They have to run a lot.
You can get you can get a first round playoff win. Sure. Good luck.
It is what it is. I look at both those teams and go, your defense was mediocre last night.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in Baltimore's defense, but I don't believe that they can score. I understand they scored 47 points last night. I get it. I just don't think you can score with a Josh Allen or a Pat Mahomes or even a Ben Roethlisberger, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can win in this league that way. And when somebody proves me wrong, I'll revise that statement. But it's never happened before, at least not in my lifetime. I'm sure it happened back in the 60s or in the 40s with Otto Graham. I'm sure that worked. But there's a reason teams don't do this. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out. There's a reason no other team in the NFL does this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason I've killed the Eagles for going to Jalen Hurts. Okay, this is a temporary fix to a permanent problem. And now you've created more of a problem because you have a quarterback that cannot throw.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Looking forward to the coming week in the NFL. There's a bunch of atrocities on that schedule. Have you seen that?
Nope.
Oh my. We are going to be treated to such games as the Bills and the Broncos.
Hot.
Thursday's the Raiders and the Chargers.
6 to midnight.
That one should actually be a decent game.
I'm going to disagree for the square.
Really?
Yeah, that's going to be a whole lot of no defense. I don't even need to know what the number is because I don't care. Over. Take the over.
Take the over. But that's
Short week with those two defenses. I don't care if the over-under is 60. Take it.
But that's what I mean with an entertaining game, I guess is what I should
See,
say.
your version of entertaining and mine are different.
You don't find two teams shooting each other out entertaining.
I don't see bad defenses entertaining. I don't. That's not entertaining. Last night was entertaining. It was bad defense, but it was entertaining. I don't look at two bad teams just scoring 1 billion points and going, oh, that was fun. Same reason I don't watch MAC football, just because I don't care. I want to see the best of the best go at each other. That's the reason I like watching the Bills and the Chiefs and the Saints and all the way down to the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching those teams. I like watching good football. I don't. I'm not a fan of bad. And I'm really tired of being forced to watch bad.
Yeah.
The primetime games this week, here are the ones I know. I get the Chargers and the Bengals in primetime this week. And I get the Panthers on Saturday Night Football.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of football that I'm going to be forced to watch because, well, it's football and it's on time.
And it's the only thing on. Right.
What else? What am I going to watch? The Maury Povich show? I'll pass.
You are not the father.
Bucks, Falcons, Colts, Texans, Dolphins, Patriots. Yeah. Bears, Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
Locked in for that NFL North matchup. You get the Seattle Seahawks against the Washington football team. I actually
That
think
actually
that
can be
one-
entertaining.
That one's going to be fun because if Russ Wilson continues to turn his back on defenses, watch out. Here comes Chase Young.
I like how you called him Russ Wilson like y'all played golf yesterday or some shit. I call him Russ. No big deal.
Russ, yeah, he's my dude.
He's got a golf bag that says "Let him cook" on it. No big deal.
His driver has a chef hat.
With NC State on Lamar.
It's actually it's the Swedish chef from the Muppets. A nerdy gurdy birdie birdie.
Especially love it when he wears his visor that says "whole pack of Badgers" on the top of it. It's,
Yeah.
It's his little thing. Ravens and the Jaguars, the Rams and the Jets, the Cardinals and the Eagles.
Rams Jets is the worst one I've heard. That's my team, and it's gonna be bad.
Browns and the Giants on Sunday Night Football.
G-Man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that the primetime games this week, I get the Chargers, I get the Giants, and I get the Bengals.
Yep.
Woof.
The 425 or one of the 425 games on Sunday is going to be the premier matchup. It's going to be Kansas City and New Orleans. Will Drew Brees play in that game? They're saying they're not going to rush him back just to bring him in, and I agree with the decision. Trust me. I know Taysom Hill is a nightmare. That's the best way that I can put it. Losing to the Philadelphia Eagles should be the high watermark of his career, my opinion, as a quarterback. He's fine. You use him as the gadget player, put him out there tight end, spread him out wide, use him as a running back or something. Do that shit. We can't move forward with him as the quarterback of this team.
He's not a quarterback.
Right.
You know why? Because he can't throw.
So, but you were going to get beat anyway.
Yeah, there's no reason to bring him out there.
Right.
Yeah, I don't care who you play at quarterback. I don't care if you get Archie Manning in his prime. You still lose this game.
And then, as Jeremy said on Monday Night Football, we get the Bengals taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That sounds very nappy to me.
Yeah.
But that's the sound of Jeremy takes a nap.
I find it harder and harder the older I get to stay up for football games late at night. And it's really pissing me off. So you took my hair, and now you've taken my ability to stay up for late football games. Because I passed out in the fourth quarter of that game last night. I just couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. Starting my day at 5:45 every morning is not conducive to staying up late and watching, fourth quarter midnight football. But,
Who's shocked that old man baseball over here can't stay up?
Can't do it.
I watched Matlock and now I'm sleepy. Somebody get me a pudding.
A pudding.
God, I would love a pudding at night. Anybody wants to just bring me pudding in the middle of the night? You're my new favorite person.
I'm going to pass on that job. I spend enough time with you as it is.
Well, I just had to throw that out there. Late night pudding deliveries at the door. I feel like that's the next DoorDash.
Are you close?
Yeah,
I closed?
I feel like this is the late night pudding delivery is the first step of a lot of steps that ultimately lead to local sportscaster arrested for peekaboo with pudding delivery guy.
It's my house. My house. You take your risk how I answer the door.
Which is why I have never stepped foot on your doorstep, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. This whole willy-nilly pants optional thing. Yeah, I don't. Homie, don't play that. He got tickled.
I'm sorry, it just made me think of something funny that happened last night.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. So, last night...
Listening to you laugh like a hyena is really quality broadcasting.
Well, I'm sorry. So last night I got home, and when I get home, I change into my comfortable clothes and everything. I had to have a talk with my son because he was being a little disrespectful to his mom right before I got home. So I bring him into the bedroom, and I'm changing my clothes, and I go to put my, before I got to put my sweatpants on, I'm talking to Joseph, and I go, give me a hug. And he looks at me, and he goes, and I said, what? And he goes, your crotch is hanging out of your pants. Your crotch is hanging out of your underwear. I'm not going to hug you. And I went, oh, sorry about that, bud.
Did we have to tell that story?
I just wanted everybody to know why I was laughing so bad, because the look on his face was
Poor bastard.
funny as fuck.
Poor bastard.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I think we've all been there at some point.
Nope. I can say I never have.
You never have?
Nope. Not with my dad, not with any of my children.
Really?
And frankly, that's the reason I'm such a happy person. I feel like that would have robbed my ability to be happy for the rest of my life.
I'm just saying, it's that old Rodney Carrington skit.
It's longer when you turn 52.
That's right.
Michael Whiteside said, nope, just you.
Nope, just me.
Yeah.
Just me.
I know him personally, and I know his dad. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, never happened to him either.
Oh, it was one of the funniest things. Anywho. So, yeah.
We digress.
Rabbit hole of the morning.
I'm just hoping that a cop doesn't show up at the studio door like, Mr. Spencer, we need to talk to you.
We need to talk to you for a
We
second.
need to talk to you about some things.
When Chief comes out,
we understand you.
Yeah.
For your arrest.
Yeah, when Chief Zach shows up to do our ESPN show on Friday, and he's like, we got to talk.
Yeah, we understand that.
Jeremy, do you know how to run the buttons?
Exposed
No,
yourself
sir,
to a
I do
minor.
not, actually. I indeed do not know how to run the buttons.
Yep.
They never taught me how to do that.
Good. Oh, gosh. Sorry about that. Had to roll down that rabbit hole.
I love the fact that every comment in the last 45 seconds has been something to the gist of, don't think I'd have shared that.
Hey, I am an open book. I
Obviously.
share way too much with you damn people.
That's why we love you, Tate.
Yeah, that's right. We have no secrets
You're relatable.
here in the
You're relatable
Sportsocracy family.
To the masses. You're relatable to the masses.
That's right.
Except for a couple.
Yeah.
I'm just
So
laughing
what-
at the comments. You're not going to get much from me. You went down a rabbit hole that I
Sorry.
am not following you down.
Sorry. Kind of derailed the situation.
Afraid
here.
I'd be scarred like your son is now.
Unfortunately, we got some bad news out of San Francisco. Deebo Samuel looks like he's going to be possibly done for the year.
Is Deebo Samuel, does he have that weird disease where his bones are made of glass? Because
maybe.
I think every time you breathe on him, something breaks. And he's so talented.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so fragile.
Fraggle.
Stop being so fragile.
Fragile.
Fragile. It's French.
It's a major award.
It's so sad because he's so talented. And I've seen this with so many guys that you just cannot stay healthy. And he has that problem. You know? I mean, he's been hurt, four separate
Percy
times
Harvin.
this year?
Percy Harvin.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. Percy Harvin was never as good as Deebo Samuel is.
Deebo
Percy Harvin had one trait. Hey, look at how fast I can run.
Okay.
Percy Harvin had the same trait that most 6-year-olds have. Look at my shoes, they make me run fast! That was it. He had nothing else.
Right.
He played for my team. I seen it.
Uh-huh.
And Deebo's
I'm just
like
saying, he
not
reminds
a
me of
fragile, looking person. He's a stout dude. It doesn't look like he'd be, made of glass. Like
Well,
you said.
he is made of marshmallow fluff and popsicle sticks. Right. It's a hamstring injury this time that is going to keep him out, and they say he's going to be out for quite a while. So, congratulations, 49ers. You get the, you get the most cursed team award for 2020. Them and Dallas. I think it's a close race between them and Dallas. Two teams that we thought would be at the top of the NFC have just been riddled by injuries, and it just continues for the 49ers with Deebo Samuel. It's quite unfortunate.
It is that.
Ole Miss head ball coach Lane Kiffin.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
He's just
I love
fucking
Troll
with you
Lane
now.
Kiffin. Troll Lane Kiffin is my favorite, but and now he's fat. Like, I think Lane Kiffin has been on that same diet that Will Ferrell had in Elf.
Right.
I think he's been eating nothing but candy corn, and maple syrup. I swear to you, he gains 9 pounds every time I see him. That old thing of, the camera adds 10 pounds. How many cameras are on Lane Kiffin at any given time?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not like the lovable fat guy either. Like, he's a jerk. Like,
Yep.
me.
Yep. But yesterday during the press conference, he was asked about the Auburn job, whether or not Auburn had called or whether he had talked to Auburn or even had considered maybe making himself available for the Auburn job. 1 year at Ole Miss, that seems strange. But, hell, Lane
Already
Kiffin,
done it once.
Lane Kiffin is the ultimate college football coach traveler.
Nomad.
I mean, exactly.
Nomad Kiffin. I'm okay with it.
He's a beatnik. He just sets up a tent, couple of years, maybe a year, and then moves on to the next thing.
Little jam band, no problem.
So when they asked him about it, he dodged it at first, and then it came up again, and he channeled Nick Saban, where he said, "You know what? I probably shouldn't say this way, but I'm not going to be the head coach of Alabama. And if you ask me again, I'm going to keep saying it that way."
I just wish he had said something about the Miami Dolphins. It would have been the ultimate troll. I plan to remain the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. I will not be the next head coach of Alabama. And here's the thing. I don't think he's going to be the next head coach at Auburn.
No.
It would be phenomenal if he was. Just think about how good that would be. You got fat Lane Kiffin and angry Nick Saban, and they were once allies and now they're enemies. Fantastic. It's a lot better than Kevin Steele, which I keep hearing.
Yeah.
That can't be a thing. Please, God, tell me you didn't pay $22 million to Gus Malzahn to hire Kevin Steele.
Yeah.
He's already been a head coach. I want to say it was at Baylor. And he was
I think that's
atrocious.
He was an intern at Baylor. Intern head coach at Baylor. And he's already making like all Malzahn's pay.
He was not the interim at Baylor. He was the head coach at Baylor for 3 years. And he was terrible. You want to know how terrible? I just looked it up. Here was his record at Baylor in 4 years: 1-10, 2-9, 3-8, 3-9.
Ooh.
In 4 years, he won one conference game. One. He was 1-31 in the Big 12.
Well, that was wrong.
Yes, let's get real excited about Kevin Steele.
Gross.
I was completely wrong.
No, I don't think he's not taking the Auburn job, and I don't know that. I don't know. Would Auburn go down that path? Do you think?
Which one?
Would Auburn reach out to Lane Kiffin if they thought he was interested in that job?
Oh, 100%. I would wager that they've reached out. He's probably a backup candidate. I cannot for the life of me wrap my head around. All right, so you fired Malzahn. You paid $22 million to get him to go away. That means there has to be somebody that you feel really good about taking this job that you think will take this job. The only one I can wrap my head around is Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
That's it. You're not paying $22 million for Kevin Steele. And I understand. I heard it on Feinbaum yesterday. I've heard it from a couple of my sources that they really like Kevin Steele. Cool. He'll be a great defensive coordinator for Hugh Freeze. They're not hiring him for this job. You would, and if they do, it's a travesty.
Right.
Does the SEC commissioner allow Hugh Freeze to be a head coach?
Oh
100%.
yeah. Oh yeah. The Greg Sankey blocking Hugh Freeze thing. I mean, it was a plausible thing. Like it could happen, but I believe that that's just. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to look at Auburn and say no.
No. But I mean, because now Auburn's almost drawing you into a corner of, okay, well, we have to do something. We have to have a coach, obviously. There's only one slam dunk hire. That's it. I mean, who's the other slam dunk? You mentioned this to me yesterday. Steve Sarkisian.
Steve Sarkisian.
No, that's not a slam dunk. He wasn't even that great of a coach. And now you're telling me he's going to go against Nick Saban once a year? Okay. That won't go well. It just won't. I mean, he's got a few years of recruiting in the South. He was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons. He doesn't have the connections in the South to be an elite head coach.
Yeah. He worked
Hugh
at
Freeze, on the
Alabama,
other hand,
so-
does. Other than that, I think it's a travesty. I mean, I think it's a disaster of a decision if you don't hire Hugh Freeze.
I agree. I think that is the way to go, and I don't think Hugh would say no. Hugh wants to be back in the SEC. Who wouldn't want to be back in the SEC?
Somebody
And you-
cashing checks from Liberty,
Yeah.
that Jerry Falwell Jr. money. I'll take that job.
But you're gonna get the same thing at Auburn.
Yeah, but you don't have to play Nick Saban at Liberty. I mean, I'll be honest
But
with
you'll
you.
never get any respect at Liberty.
Okay, all right. Let's get on that rabbit hole.
Okay.
How much respect do you think you're going to get at Auburn?
You'll get quite a bit.
You can't recruit in your own state because Alabama will kill you for the elite of the elite. The 5 best recruiting classes of the last 20 years, 4 of them were from Alabama in the last half a decade. And they're just a juggernaut. Why would you want to take this job? And I know for a fact Hugh Freeze wants the Tennessee job. That's his like white knight job. That's his ultimate, dream job. I could see a path where he waits for a year.
Why?
Because you're one of the highest paid group of 5 coaches, and you're at Liberty, where you know there's no risk to you. I mean, there's no chance of Hugh Freeze going 4-8 at Liberty.
No, but here you're making the decision between Auburn and Tennessee. That's not
Tennessee's
a close
a better job.
decision.
Tennessee's a better job.
No.
Tennessee's a better job.
Why?
Who do you contend with in your own state to recruit? There's 1.5 answers. Tennessee's not an elite recruiting band.
Right.
Tennessee's a national brand that recruits nationally.
Right.
The 2 answers are Mac Brown at Carolina and Dabo Swinney at Clemson. That's it. You are not really contending with anybody else. You are the premier job in your state. At Alabama, you will be the stepchild there forever. They have won a national title in the last decade. Do you see Alabama as, I mean, how many tiers do you have to go down to get from Alabama to Auburn? Auburn's one of those jobs that sounds good to me. It does. It sounds good. I don't think that it is.
I think you get way more respect by being the second team in the SEC West to Alabama routinely. If you could put yourself in that position, which we've seen Auburn play, you're going to get way more credit than that than you will be. Even because you're not going to go to Tennessee. I don't foresee Hugh Freeze going to Tennessee and turning that into
Hugh Freeze will be successful anywhere he goes.
a relative program.
I do. Hugh Freeze will be successful anywhere he goes. He is that good of a coach. And he is an elite, world-class recruiter. And here's the thing. You're talking about, why would you want to go to Tennessee? Here's why. Right now, in the SEC West, you have to contend with Alabama, Texas A&M that has more money than God, and LSU. You know what you contend with in the East? Georgia and Florida. That's it. That's it. There is no other answer. And you've got Florida that has Dan Mullen, who is an absolute crazy person, and it would not shock me if he took an NFL job within the next 3 years. And I'm going to be honest with you, Florida has always been an overrated job. Always. It's the reason they hired Ron Zook. I am a diehard Florida State fan. I can tell you this unequivocally. Florida is one of the most overrated jobs in the country. And if Dan Mullen left, I'd be honest with you, I think they'd struggle to hire a coach of that ilk. Elk's a moose.
Hey, Rocky!
Sorry. That's the way I look at it. I think Auburn is a buzzsaw job. And if you take that job, you have to deal with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, who I think will be there. If he doesn't take this job, I think will be there for a minute.
I don't know.
I think these are both 2 overrated jobs, to be really honest.
Yeah, I can't get on board with that.
Okay, then explain it.
I just can't
You
get
tell
on
me.
board with that.
All right, you tell me. Yeah, explain it to me.
I did. I mean, Auburn is a good program.
Okay, that's not an explanation. That's just that's repeating your synopsis line.
Okay.
Tell me why it's a good job, because I'm going to combat you with pretty simple stats. It's really not that difficult. You tell me why it's such a good job.
Well, I mean, you are in the hotbed of the SEC. You're going to get, you're going to have your own players that you can recruit, and then you can get a 5-star or 2, and then you're going to get the the guys that want to compete in the SEC. It's not.
Tennessee's also in the SEC. You
But it's
can't use
also a
SEC
bad program.
It's not bad. It's not a bad program.
How is it
It's
not a bad
'Cause
program?
they have more money
It's
than
been a
God.
fucking disaster for 10 years.
Why? There's a very simple reason of why.
Phil Fulmer.
His name. Well, that's not. You're not wrong. I
Right.
will not disagree with you there. I got news for you. If Hugh Freeze takes this job, he doesn't give a rat's ass what Phil Fulmer said. Sorry, Phil. It's my program now. Okay, here's a fun question. Since 2000, how many 10-win seasons does Auburn have?
I
Total.
don't know, 6, 7?
5. It's 5. In 21 years, they have 5. It's not an elite program. And they have a lot more 5 and 7s and 6 and 4s and 3 and 9s. I mean, really think about what I'm going to say. They've had 3 coaches since 2000. It's Tommy Tuberville, Gene Chizik, and Gus Malzahn. You hired Gus Malzahn basically out of high school. He'd been the Arkansas State coach for an hour. And then you had Gene Chizik, who went to a national title and then typhooned the program. Why? This is not that hard to figure out. Why do elite coaches not want this job? And you're going to see this in this cycle, I promise you. Because you don't have the money. You don't have the money. And now they're fixated on the basketball program, which means some of the funds are going to Bruce Pearl. That's how they got him here. Tennessee, for better or worse, by hook or by crook, they have some boosters that will spend some money. And I understand what all the budgets and all those things say. I don't care. I don't care. Tennessee's hired Lane Kiffin, Butch Jones, who was actually a high-end. He was a sought-after head coach.
And how'd he do?
I'm not saying it was good. I'm saying a high-end. Nobody was screaming for Gus Malzahn. He was the coach at Arkansas State for a year, and he had been a high school coach before that. He spent a couple years as working on staffs and things like that.
Yeah.
It's not like he was the hot candidate.
Right.
I just look at somebody like Hugh Freeze that can have any job that comes open, any job he wants. All he has to do is tell Jimmy Sexton, "I want that. Go get it for me." And they go, "We want. How much money you want? You want $7 million a year? Here's $7 million a year. $7 million a year. We'll increase the budget. We'll do whatever you want." Why would you want the Auburn job? You are never going to be the best team in your own state, ever. You'll never be the best team in your own division. You're always going to be in a financial, you're behind the 8 ball financially. LSU has a ton of money in the football program. Alabama prints money, and Texas A&M has more money than any of them because they have a booster that's worth $1 bajillion. I think his name is Scrooge McDuck. Why would you want to go into that buzzsaw? You still have not given me an answer to that question because you don't have one, because there isn't one. You're the 4th best program in your own division, period. You got lucky with Cam Newton because he got kicked out of Florida. But really think about that. It's the best player in your program's history. Tim and Bo Jackson. That's it. 1 and 2. Okay. You got Cam Newton because he got kicked out of Florida. He still chose Florida over you. Always remember that. If Cam doesn't get kicked out of Florida for stealing a laptop or whatever the hell he did, it's never been a definitive, but he got kicked out of Florida. If that doesn't happen, none of the rest of this happens. You know why? Because elite recruits don't want to go to Auburn, Alabama. They want to go to Tuscaloosa or to Clemson or to one of these other schools, and you have a better chance of doing that at Tennessee than you do at Auburn. It's not close.
I think you're off your rocker on that one.
And
nobody wants to go to Tennessee.
And you keep saying that, but you have there's no reason. You just
I
keep
have
saying,
a reason.
What is the
Tennessee
reason?
has been god-awful for 10 years. They've been through head coaches here, left, and center. They're awful. That whole fucking program. Phil Fulmer is awful, but Tennessee loves him. The administration, everybody loves Phil Fulmer and thinks he fucking hangs the moon. The fan base loves him. No, that's not. You're not getting anybody excited at Tennessee.
Okay.
Because the Tennessee fans come in immediately, oh, here comes Hugh Freeze. He's going to turn around the program. And it's going to happen the same way it's happened with every guy they've hired since Phil Fulmer.
Okay. They've had 4 coaches since Phil Fulmer. Guess what? 3 of them were elite candidates. Auburn does not have that.
Okay.
They don't. This is not that hard to figure out.
You're telling me they're going after elite candidates, but the elite candidates haven't been winning. So why should that matter?
Well, one of them would have been fine, except he took the USC job. Lane Kiffin was recruiting. And here's the net of it. Who recruits better, Tennessee or Auburn? This is, by the way, not even debatable.
Is it Tennessee?
It's Tennessee by a mile. It's Tennessee by a mile.
Mm-hmm. Good job.
I mean,
Way to recruit. And you haven't been relevant.
So you're telling me this job's better because I said so. I'm telling you we recruit better, we have more money, and we've hired better candidates. That's 3 for me. I'm going to take a win on that.
And you've burned it to the ground every time.
Okay. I'm not disputing anything you just said.
All right.
I'm saying...
I'm telling you that's why it's the better job, because even at Auburn, even if you don't win and you're the red-headed stepchild in the SEC West, guess what? You're still relevant. Tennessee's not relevant. They haven't been.
Tennessee's every bit as relevant as Auburn is. And they sell out stadiums every week. Doesn't matter how bad you are. Doesn't matter.
That's fine.
Doesn't matter. And you have elite talent in Tennessee. You do not currently have elite talent at Auburn. You don't.
All right.
What do you hang your hat on? Bo Nix, the guy who cannot play on the road? Can't play on the road at all.
Who's Tennessee's big
They
elite
currently have the number 10 recruiting class in the country. Auburn had the 7th. Guess what? They're going to jump ship like it's going out of style. You know why? Because you fired Gus Malzahn.
Unless they find out Hugh Freeze is coming.
They don't run the same offense. They're not the same players. Gus Malzahn runs a fluky-ass little kooky offense.
Mm-hmm.
It's rather irrelevant.
Okay.
I'm telling you, those recruits will jump like it's going out of style from Auburn.
I think that's part of the reason that you make this make this move before signing day, is to tell your recruits that there's a change coming, and I think it's got to be Hugh Freeze.
I don't think he takes it. The more I've sat here and thought about it, the less I think he actually takes the job. Because why would he? Why would he? Why would you take this job? I mean, you look at the class rankings for Auburn. They've recruited well with Malzahn because there was stability there. I don't think anybody looks at Jeremy Pruitt and goes, yeah, he's locked in. He still has a top 10 recruiting class. He's had fantastic talent. I just don't think he's a very good coach. I look at somebody like Hugh Freeze and I think he could walk into Tennessee and be a 10-win team in a year. I don't see that at Auburn. And I think he's a fantastic coach. But at Auburn, you have to play LSU and A&M and Alabama every year.
Yep. And there's a lot that comes from that. There's a lot of positive that comes from that.
Yeah, 3 losses. You're going to hang 3 L's most years.
Most years.
I'm good. I don't want to go 9-3 just to be in an SEC school. I don't. But if you're telling me that the right coach at Tennessee can't catch Georgia and Florida, you're out of your mind. You just are. I have more money. I have a bigger fan base. I'm the best team in my own state. This is a brand job. And look, I didn't think we were going down this path because I've been the one that's hammered Tennessee for years and years and years because they're not a Tier 1 job. They're easily a Tier 2 job. Easily.
And Auburn's not that to you.
Not right now. You don't have the money. You don't have the money, and there's no path to you getting it. There's no path to you competing at the highest level with Auburn, A&M, and LSU. LSU just had the worst year in program history. Definitively the worst in the last 30 years. Guess what? They still have a better coach than you. They still have more money than you. They still have better players than you, and they should have beaten you in the worst year in program history. So you're telling me one coach is going to fix that? Okay, then. And you got to remember, for Hugh Freeze, you can't get this wrong. You had to eat a lot of doo-doo because of what happened at Ole Miss. You get one crack at this. You get one crack at this. And you're telling me you want to sign up to face Ed Orgeron, Jimbo Fisher, and Nick Saban 3 times a year? I'll pass. Hard pass, as a matter of fact.
Now, that part of it is a different thing. Obviously, the expectations to win at Auburn are there.
The expectations are there to win at both.
But at Tennessee, if you're not a 10-win team and vying for the SEC, they don't want you. They're not going to settle for 9-3 at Tennessee. They'll settle for that at Auburn, though.
No, they won't. No, they won't. What would you like to know? They were 9-4 last year. They've been trying to chase Gus Malzahn for 4 years. The man's gone to literally in the last. He won a national title in his first year, which was 2013. Since then, he's gone to the Outback Bowl, a couple weenie bowls, the Sugar, the Peach, and the Outback. And they've been trying to chase him out of town for 3 years. You know why? Because he keeps losing to Nick Saban. He had some success in the beginning, and I read that in every article about him being fired. He had a modicum of success. And then that stopped, and they had torches at the door running him off and paid $22 million to do it.
Yep.
I want nothing to do with this job. Nothing. And I'll tell you what I think's going to happen. I think you're going to wind up in the Billy Napier, of which, by the way, I would actually really like that hire at Auburn.
Louisiana's good.
Yeah. The coach at Louisiana Lafayette. I think he's the best hire you can have. Because if I'm Hugh Freeze, I look at this and go, I'll pass. I'll wait for a year. I'll wait for Dan Mullen to leave at Florida. I'll wait for Jimmy Pruitt to get fired at Tennessee. I'll wait for, hell, Ed Orgeron. I'll be honest, because this is how the SEC works at these high-end schools. Ed Orgeron won a national title last year. I've heard hate on Ed Orgeron.
Yeah, already.
Which is ridiculous.
Already, in 1 year.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's how this works. And you're telling me you want to sign up to do that 3 times a year? 3 times a year against Saban, Orgeron, and Jimbo Fisher, who are 3 of the 7 best coaches in college football? I'm good. I'll sign up for Dan Mullen, who's probably going to be there for about 45 more minutes before something tickles his fancy elsewhere.
Right.
I've heard the NFL with him for weeks.
Yeah.
And Kirby Smart,
Yeah.
who couldn't figure out JT Daniels was the best quarterback on his roster for 2 months. Yeah, I'm good. I'll do that.
What is the reasoning? Why is Hugh Freeze so locked in on Tennessee?
There is a reason for that, but I don't remember what it is.
I mean, if there's a personal connection there or
there
something.
is of some kind. I can't remember if his wife went there.
Okay.
He has some affinity for. He's from Oxford, Mississippi. He has never worked at Tennessee. I want to say his wife went to Tennessee.
Okay. I mean, if there's a personal connection there and that's his dream job or whatever, I mean, yeah, he's only going to have to wait another year.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Jeremy Pruitt should have been fired this year.
Yeah.
So, it's not going to be a long wait. Not going to be a long wait. But I just don't see him turning down this opportunity to go to Auburn and be at a school that has been relevant in the last few years. Tennessee ain't it, in my opinion. The ACC has hired a new commissioner. Northwestern Athletic Director Jim Phillips is now going to take over for John Swofford, who's stepping down from the lead job with the ACC that he's had for, 25 years, something like that. I think it's rather funny that the ACC is going to go with the guy that the Big Ten should have gone with before they hired Kevin Warren.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about this side of this. Yesterday on the ESPN Asheville show, we talked about it and the fact that Jim Phillips has ties to Notre Dame, which I think is interesting because we've already seen this, kiss your sister kind of relationship between the ACC and Notre Dame. Nobody wants to commit to anybody full time until it was absolutely necessary. And now Notre Dame, obviously a 1-year member of the ACC this year. They'll play for the ACC championship. They'll probably take the Coach of the Year award. And by the time they win ACC hardware like that, the marriage comes a little bit, everybody warms up to committing to each other long term. And the fact that the ACC is going with a guy who was the assistant AD at Notre Dame for a few years, I think this might be a bridge to making that relationship now work long term. Jeremy and I have had this theory for a while now that was kind of part of this deal. Once John Swofford talked to Notre Dame and got them to come over full time to the ACC so they could be included in the ACC regular season schedule, they could get the national hype because whatever they were going to have to come up with an independent schedule was going to be, brutal. And they'd end up playing a similar schedule like BYU ended up playing this year. They'll get no credit for being undefeated, which they would have been if they had to pull together their own schedule. But I think that was talked about before. Like, hey, you come over this year, we'll see how it goes. You share your TV money with us. This will be a nice little marriage for the 1 year. And then we'll reevaluate. And we'll see if you want to stay. And I think as swimmingly as this year has gone for Notre Dame, being at the top of the country, being in the top 4, they're going to make the college football playoff probably regardless of what happens in the ACC championship game. I think they'll be in to stay. And getting a guy who's got a relationship with Notre Dame to lead the ACC is a perfect way to go. However, this was the guy that they were going to hire for the Big Ten job before they got a wild hair like last 11th hour of the decision process for finding a new AD for the Big Ten that they decided to go with Kevin Warren out of the Minnesota Vikings.
You've got that story backwards a little bit.
Really?
It wasn't they were going to hire him. That's who a lot of the ADs in the Big Ten wanted them to hire.
I thought they had already gone through the process with
They
him.
talked to him, it never got that far. For whatever reason, they fell in love with Kevin Warren. And there were ADs that, I'm not going to lie to you, were pissed about it. Mm-hmm. Nebraska was one of them. Just let that be known.
Okay.
They went down the rabbit hole with him.
Right.
But as soon as Kevin Warren walked in the door, the powers that be in the Big Ten went, "That's our guy."
Yeah.
And you get what you deserve.
Yeah.
I mean, you earned that one because you have. I think this guy's is a fantastic hire for the ACC.
Oh, yeah. He went to Northwestern, and since he's been the AD, they've become relevant. They've got a basketball team that just made their first March Madness tournament. They've had a football team now that's in the Big Ten championship game this year. He's been apparently doing a bang-up job as far as donations and stuff like that, generating money.
The thing.
Right.
That's where it's at.
Right. Generating
He has
the money.
done a huge. Northwestern is a journalism school. Mm-hmm. That's what it does. Its biggest alumni work for ESPN and do what we do. Yeah. He has done an incredible job of rallying them together and raising money.
Yep.
Because that was a huge problem at Northwestern. Because they didn't have any sports that generated money, and they were terrible at that. Mm-hmm. He did a great job of getting the donors together to be relevant. Mm-hmm. And now they are.
Yep.
Success on field doesn't mean much to me as a commissioner. I care about how do you do as the CEO. And this guy is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. You listen to him talk, and it is, he's one of those polished speakers you'll ever hear. And I look at Kevin Warren and go, how did you not see through this?
Yeah, seriously.
Kevin Warren thinks he's the smartest person in every room he's ever walked into. And he might be. But he hasn't been for this year. I would wager the Big Ten looks at this and goes, we boo-booed.
Yep.
We should have hired. That's who we should have hired.
Mm-hmm.
Now the ACC has him, and that's going to hurt.
Yep.
Because John Swafford's one of the greatest commissioners that we've ever had in Power 5 athletics.
Agreed.
He's been in the ACC for 40 trillion years. Mm-hmm. He's the only commissioner that's been with the ACC in my conscious life. Mm-hmm. And to replace him with somebody like this it's a home run hire to me.
Absolutely. And I think it's hilarious that this is the guy the Big Ten could have had. And now we see what's happened with the Big Ten in the first year of Kevin Warren.
Right.
They've turned into enemy number one.
Right. Yep.
Among all other college entities in the country. And this is like another just home run. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. Home run for the ACC in hiring Jim Phillips to be their next commissioner. Oh, it's been a long morning already.
It has.
We got another 2 hours of content coming up for you this afternoon on ESPN Asheville. The Sports Tank with Jeremy Green, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. live. You can get it on demand and take it anywhere you go with that iHeartRadio app. Coming up today on the afternoon show, we'll give you, we'll have Jeremy's second movie review. He's doing the 12 Days of Christmas movie reviews now. He disappointed me yesterday with his horrible take on Elf.
Elf was god-awful. Elf is top 5 worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
He's wrong.
Home Alone was good. I swear to you, I have seen none of these movies. Home Alone was really good. I actually like that one a lot. My wife tried to convince me to watch Home Alone 2 and Home Alone 3, and I went, nope. Same franchise, can't do it.
You could stop at 2. 2 is good.
And I'll watch.
And Donald Trump's in it.
And
I
I'll
like it.
Yeah, I'll watch 2 at some point. It's just not going to be during this.
He's especially going to watch it now that he knows his boyfriend's in it.
So now, didn't hurt the chances of me watching it. But like, last night I watched was it National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation?
Yep.
I will give my full synopsis of that movie this afternoon on ESPN Asheville.
Right. I think I'm going to be much more pleased about this one, especially the squirrel scene.
I always told all of you, I always told you I was right to be afraid of squirrels. And that movie confirmed it, and you all knew it, and you lied to me.
This afternoon on ESPN Asheville, again, 3 o'clock on the iHeartRadio app, the Sports Tank with Jeremy Green. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Green at the Sportsocracy on all the social medias. Don't forget to like it, share it, and follow it. We appreciate everyone's support throughout this this new process that we're going through, adding in new things to the set. We've got big things coming later on this week.
We have things happening every day.
Yes.
So there are times I apologize I can't be. We're on 3 different streams now, so I'm in comments on each one of them. We appreciate you greatly. I'm going to figure out a way to merge all the chat streams.
Right.
It's a little above my pay grade, and it's a little above my simple little mind, but I'm going to figure it out.
Right, and we'll be making new improvements coming up later on this week to the Wicked Weed Studios here in Woodford, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. We're glad you're along the ride with us, and don't forget to tell your friends about us. The more eyeballs that we get, the more this thing can grow, and we appreciate all of your support at the Sportsocracy. Like, share, follow on all of the social medias. We'll see you this afternoon on the radio side.